Let's do it, Petey.
All right, I think
Somehow,
Before I really start feeling my
movie
medication
poster,
kick in.
I get furry porn. Oh, that's Toothless with a red rocket.
on that note,
All right, I'm getting out of this. Woo! Nordic skincare, I'll take you back any day of the week.
I might actually be high.
Yes.
Duck went.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Record breakers in 2, 3, 1.
Still offering to the drum machine to put another face on my heart. Start singing the streaming color, the odd symbol repeated. Not gonna be held back by the ranger's hour. No reaction without pain, I got lost. Backpedal, angels go. Give up the throat today.
Buenos nachos, amigos, and welcome to Record Breakers, a music podcast where a group of friends gather together, share music with each other like a little book club for music. It's a fun time. It's a fun group. It's a fun squad. I'm Petey Rave, and I am forever dumb. Here with me is my team, my squad, my crew. We've got David.
Shout out to our Nordic skincare, the skincare addicts of the North.
Yeah. We've got Brett.
Give me candy. I don't care if it's old or cold or covered in mold.
Yes. Unfortunately, Drew is on assignment and will be for a little while, but we have the unofficial fifth record breaker.
He's fourth. He's fourth in the rankings.
No.
Matthew Walton, everybody, is definitely fourth, and I'm still very much the fifth.
Probably sixth.
I thought you were really dunking on Swagger. I was like, man, what a
who?
dick.
Who?
No,
Who?
Pat.
Patrick.
You know,
Patrick
he's
Star.
from Pennsylvania.
Doesn't ring a bell.
We have the one, the only, Squiggles McGee, aka Matt. Matt, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm still salty about Sally Beauty Supply getting rid of their better Sally Beauty Club, and they replaced it with a point system, and it sucks now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I understand. I don't have the need for getting my nails did.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
They offer discounts for only $5 a year. So good.
So good.
But other than that, I'm doing good.
Yeah. As we try to recover, as we move forward from these trying times, we talk about music, talk about an album. The album for this week is one that I'm providing for the group, that I have provided for the group. It's a very cool, very interesting solo debut from a really cool Korean indie artist. She kind of made the scene with her band So-Yoon. And then in the kind of transitional period for her band, as the other two members who were men had to go to the military. If you're a K-pop fan or a esports fan, you know the process of mandatory conscription for Korean men. If not, look it up. But she decided to kind of do her own solo thing to kind of explore her musical aspects. And we have Hwang So-Yoon's solo debut under kind of performing under the name So-Yoon, kind of cool and stylized way, with the album So-Yoon. It's a cool album. I wanted to see what expectations you had. I'll start with David. David, what expectations did you have coming into this album?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that I absolutely loved the album cover on this. This is fantastic piece of album art. It is, just from that alone, it made me expect something really wild and interesting. And I've said many times that I think that a lot of Korean pop music and Korean independent music can be a little not to my liking at times. It can be a little too digitized, synthesized, processized. Melatonin. But this, I had a very good first impression, so I was intrigued.
Brett, what were your expectations coming into this album?
I mean, other than like the weird Cronenberg art cover, like that I saw before, like I didn't know what I was going to get into by looking at you can't judge this book by its cover if you're me, because at this point I kind of assumed that whatever I get from you, if it's going to be from Korea, it's probably going to have some sort of fusion of pop rock, hip hop, or like piano ballads. It's going to be recorded like meticulously clean, and it's going to be kind of poppy, and there's probably going to be like an orchestra, but it's going to have bass. And somehow I got a little bit more than that, but we'll get into the nitty gritty here in a bit. But yes, there's I thought there was going to be like what was in this album, but it was not put together in the recipe was a little different with the same ingredients.
Yeah. Matt, I'm curious. What were your expectations coming into this album?
Well, I pretty much only looked at the album cover before I started, and I too, it's a really, for the audio listeners, it's a very, very weird album cover. It's like a baby, but maybe it's a hedgehog, but maybe it's an udder, or maybe it's a hedgehog udder made out of sandstone. I don't really know.
Yeah.
So I was hoping for
I love
something.
it.
Yes.
I absolutely love it.
Absolutely.
It's like
and
a
I was
popple.
hoping for, yeah, I was hoping for something super weird, like maybe a little bit proggy or Zappa-esque, and we will go into.
Yeah. Not
Yeah.
quite there. Not quite there.
That's not I'm pretty sure that'll get you put in jail in South Korea.
No.
Go a little like.
No.
Go a little Zappa.
Well, we can talk
I
about
would
this.
like to. We'll have to look up somebody who does some Zappa South Korea style.
Yeah.
They're in
Absolutely.
prison.
Yeah,
They're
we
in
have to-
prison.
there's some metal stuff.
It's not
that's funny.
allowed.
Yeah. Let's talk about this album. Yeah. The album cover does give you an idea of something about the album itself. It's, for those who can see it, it's based off an Australian artist by the name of Patricia Piccinini. The sculpture is called The Rookie, which is it's very fitting. It's The Rookie, so it's like a debut album, a debut solo album by a young artist. And it's kind of an odd, weird creature that seems out of place. And I think this is very fitting.
Two Steamer hit 98 on the gun.
Yes,
That's right. He broke his arm, but he's a kid.
exactly.
He can throw so fast.
He can
He's
throw
in
so
Chicago.
fast. But then, then people started figuring out that he didn't have any movement on his fastball, so they just hit it over and over again. You got to have
Yep.
movement. Yes.
Fly ball revolution.
You got to give the Rookie that movie sucked, but you got to give the Rookie that they pointed the believability of that. Doesn't matter how fast you throw, you got to locate it. That being said, doesn't matter how fast you play, you got to locate it. This album is a kind of a nice mix of styles, nice mix of genres. It has a mix of indie rock, various dreamscapes, different soundscapes. It does have some hip hop influences here and there, but just kind of like in how the producers touch things here and there. It does have her presence as a guitarist in different spots, but in certain ways. It is very much, I think, at its core, a showcase of her very unique vocals in many ways, which I love. I love her voice. I love how the tone and the color of her voice is very cool. It's very interesting. It's very like smooth and like it has a unique feel to it. And there's so many sound there's some neo soul in here. There's some R&B. There's some indie rock stuff, and it mixes really well. And there's some really cool features on this album. There's some there's features by singers, by experimental electronic groups, by rappers, by
Petey, quit talking about the album so we can talk about the album.
yes. But that being said, there's just so much to talk about in this album, and it's a small album, so it's like, but yeah, David, how would you describe this album musically?
It is a mishmash of modern pop music in varying degrees. That there is some rock influence, there is some Pharrell influence, lots of Pharrell influence. There's a lot of Pharrell on this album, and it it's safe while also not safe, and that's what I'll talk about when I make my conclusive thoughts. But it is a Korean pop album that it feels a lot more like someone that does have a little bit more artistically to express, even if it is a bit all over the place. It is almost going into that category of post-genre and being genre fluid, which is the in thing in 2020, while still sort of staying within a few safe areas.
Mm-hmm. Brett, how would you describe this album musically?
Well, musically, this album's got a lot of rock and roll going on, but a lot of different kinds. And sometimes not at all. It's kind of it goes places. There's a lot of the guitar tone, like the dirty stuff, the stuff that I pay attention to, more than the clean stuff, because you can tell some stuff when you have some flavor to it. Sort of sounded like 90s alt rock, like not quite grunge, but like, there was like a few tracks. Of course, there's not a guitar solo in the world anymore without a wah pedal. So that you have some of that, which cool. But like it's mixed like a modern pop album, so it's like super dynamic. So like you've got these weird things hidden in because you have like these digital bass line, the digital like thumping bass, but you also have like the bass guitar going on too, which in the back of some of the tracks is like super impressive, but like is kind of tucked back in the mix because there's a lot of things going on. Like on some tracks you have like like a warbly tape feeling synth, or like video game type, square wave type synth things going on. Sometimes you like have, the like extreme on top of the world, like thumping sounds, but then also you have your sweet sounding songs. Because I didn't find a good way of following along on Translate, I did look, because let me tell you, if you don't have like a little dot like following along with like reading translated stuff, it's like reading a book sometimes. So with this, I'm not a lyrics guy anyway, but like the vocals themselves have a quality to them that were new. I have not heard someone sing in the Petey albums that Petey has given me of people singing from South Korea. This one stood out vocally. Mm-hmm. I knew enough to know that.
Yeah. If people want to see the I will say it's tough to find the like listed song lyrics, but I think the two singles that have music videos are on One the K and have English subs, and I think at least a couple of songs are performed on Arirang's TV's YouTube channel show I'm Live, and those have English subs. So if people want to go check them out, they can go look them up. Yeah, Matt, how would you describe this album musically?
It kind of struck me as like the first thing was just kind of how American it sounded, and I'll be the first to admit I haven't listened to that many of the Korean.
You're not playing Record Breakers, the home game?
I've been falling down on the job, and
you're our only listener.
But
wait, now we hired you. Damn it, we lost our only listener.
I still listen to the episode.
I guess I'll just go then. Thanks for having me, guys. I'll listen.
It's like refreshing your own web.
Yeah. Clicking on your own ads. But yeah, it sounded like more American and like American pop than I was kind of expecting, and I am not the person at all to talk about pop music in any genre or at any point of any nationality, because I'm like, hey, you hear about Chick Corea? That guy's pretty cool. And so, but that said, it was extremely, very competently produced and performed. And the more I listened to it, the more I started to notice the guitar and bass, and I really started to enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's some really great moments with like the guitar and bass in here and there. Even like it mixed in there with the song. I like the so as we talk about some of the key tracks, I like that it starts off. It completes the Bad Company trifecta. By starting off with a track called So-Yoon on the album So-Yoon by So-Yoon. It's just a nice Bad Company trifecta.
So-Yoon, and I won't deny.
And it's a nice start off, and it has a nice feel as an intro track. But you get into ZZ City. ZZ City. And that's a kind of like great opening track. Kind of has a cool like dreamscape feel to it with the keyboards and like the kind of how So-Yoon, the first you hear on that song after the intro is just So-Yoon's voice kind of just washing over you, and just like her very like cool like deep huskiness is just kind of like washes over you and kind of like invites you into the track. And then it transitions over to Noon Walk, which I'm just gonna call the officially the modern Koreanization of Afternoon Delight. I'm just gonna call it that. If you look up, that's one of the songs you can find on her performance of on I'm Live on Underground Radio, and yeah, it's about like, yo, get up, I've got afternoon plans with you, buddy. And it's fantastic, and it has a really great sexy guitar solo in there. That it's not an Yngwie Malmsteen opus, but it is exactly what it needs to be, which is it's sexy. Like it is just like sets the mood. It is exactly the right kind of guitar solo for the mood of the song. Other songs like Holiday is the other major single, and that one brings in the neo soul aspects to everything, and I think it does it well. It is fun, it is cool, it is fun to sing and listen to. It has a really cool style, and brings in the musicianship really well. And Forever Dumb has the chantability aspect of it. It's like bringing in guest Sam Kim. It is fun. It's catchy. I like the feel to it. I like that. I like to think that I've taught you guys enough that you were able to catch the fact that she started with going, dude, Hana, set, like 2, 1, 3. Like it was like which is a nice fun thing, even if it's like a throwaway thing. It's just like 2, 1, 3, Forever Dumb. And yeah, like I could talk about there's things to talk about in all those tracks, like even like Fantasy bringing in a trap rapper.
You pretty much covered every track.
Yeah.
You pretty much got them all.
I'm doing the Drew thing. Fantasy featuring Ricky Y or Jackie Y. That's for right. All the people out there. Was a trap rapper. If you ever check out her stuff, I might bring her one of her albums.
Is that what her was? Is that what she
that was doing? What her was?
Yeah, that's her thing usually, which is trap style rapping. Like, but it with a very weird like twist and fantastic, like almost like
it's a twist.
So I'm gonna have to bring her at some point, but who knows? That being said, as I talked about every song on the album, because it's not a lot, it's not a huge album. David, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Noon Walk, starting off with that one. I loved the beat loop on this one. It was a really unique main melody that I just kind of was very comfortable in. Complex track with vocals going in all sorts of different directions with So-Yoon, who I really, really enjoyed as well. Holiday, obviously. Yes, neo soul would be the right word. The horns on this track made me pop, and there is a spot with an electric piano that is just love it. A/DC, the chiptune song, as if Anamanaguchi were more influenced by R&B rather than punk pop. That's what I felt from this. It had an chiptune with R&B vibe feel, and yeah, I would say A/DC as well.
Yeah.
Did not care much for Forever Dumb. That's the one I was kind of like, eh.
Yeah, I can see that. Brett, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
City. So I enjoyed the tone of the synth, especially halfway through when they like hit the arpeggiator button.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of fun. Holiday. It honestly reminded me of like an alternate reality where MLB The Show like loading screens would have that song playing.
Yeah.
But like it's not in English, so it wouldn't be. But you never you'd be surprised what shows
It would
up
be
on
KBS.
that.
Would it not? KBS?
The channel, yes. A KBO, but maybe the league, but
KBL.
Yes.
KBO.
The Lot Giants and the Doosan Bears and
Lotte.
whatnot. But yeah,
Lotte.
yes. I don't know, but I know that Eric Thames went there,
Yeah.
and people called him Eric Thames forever, and that cracked me up.
Thames.
So the fifth track, yes, it sounded like a late '80s R&B hit with reverbed out drums, cheese synth, but like instead of like the vocals saying that they keep forgetting they're not in love anymore, you got clipping vocals, which are very much not '80s. And then like probably for earworm value, there's C featuring Vicky. The earworm value, the beat, it's fun even if you don't understand what's going on.
Yeah, and I like it, that one. Kind of has like the lyrics are cool if you translate them on Google Translate. It's kind of very like femme power, which is really nice. Matt, what would be some of the key tracks for you?
Probably the first one, the So-Yoon. Going back to my expectations of, ooh, this is going to be weird. The accompaniment was kind of like just tuning and detuning up and down. And so that was kind of intriguing to me. And I was like, ooh, maybe this will still be weird. And then, no, it wasn't. But Noonwalk, again, really nice guitar solo. Kind of David Gilmour-esque, I thought, was the first thing that came to mind for me. Holiday, I really liked the groove and the funky horn breakdown. Some nice horn punches afterward.
Yeah, there were orchestral hits and horn punches all over the place. All over the place.
There was an electric piano.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Athena is, again, going back to the guitar and bass, like the fuzzed out bass I thought was excellent, or whether it was real or synthesized, I don't know, but I really liked it either way.
The featuring are the band that she's currently in, so she probably brought in the bassist and the drummer.
That would make sense then. Yeah. Yeah, and a really nice jam between the guitar and the bass at the end, and those were kind of the things, especially that last one, that I was really able to latch on to.
Yeah. There was some good bass moments. It's almost a shame that Drew is on assignment, because I imagine he would have enjoyed those like bass moments. Yeah.
Top 10 heated bass moments.
Yes. Like I said, that's bassist.
Yes.
Blatant bassism. Let's bring it back around the horn before we lose track completely.
Honk.
And talk about some cool
I
stuff.
might actually be half asleep, half high right now. So
Yes.
so let's get to it.
Yes. Let's get to it. David, before you pass out, what would be your conclusion on this album as a whole?
I'm a tiny bit conflicted, Petey Rave. I loved a lot of the ideas and a lot of the pieces. I love that she seems very comfortable jumping through genres, and I love that. But it still felt a little too safe. It still felt a little bit too in the box. I think that So-Yoon let her love of Pharrell get a little out of control on this album. Just a little bit. Not necessarily saying it's a bad thing to be influenced by Pharrell. You could really, really hear it. And I'm not asking for every young artist to be poppy and to go from new wave electro pop to heavy pop with metal seasoning on top. I'm not asking for that. But I did like the fact that this album had a chiptune song, and the R&B and pop sensibilities otherwise were really well done and certainly appreciated. The composition is all solid. Sound-wise, it's strong. And there were moments of jazz and a little synth pop here that were very tasteful. I guess my biggest compliment would be is that it was a little safe and a little short.
Brett, how would you conclude on this album?
By pointing a spudger at the this is I mean, I enjoyed this this album pretty all right. You know, but what I was digging was like I am somebody who is constantly searching for things that I have never heard before, and there were things on this album that I had never heard before. But beyond that, I don't know. We're gonna have to find out if this pops up in my Spotify playlist in like weeks from now, and I'm like, you know, not paying attention, and all of a sudden I look down and I'm like, oh, hey, I'm listening to this. Yeah. Then I will be able to take it true. But I've had a lot of time to spend with this album for this sesh. I listened to this a lot and had a little bit of time off and came back. Still think it's all right.
And ultimately, Matt, what would be your conclusion on this album?
It was clearly well produced and extremely well done, but it just didn't hit me quite right for me to just really fall in love with it. That said, I don't know if I'm the target audience for this in any form. Maybe
18
the
to
guitars
35-year-old men in Texas. You know?
Yeah, maybe. Probably more than I think. But
and I'm not. I thought it was okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be focused just in Texas, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it was very good, and if it was playing in somebody's car, I wouldn't complain about it, or I wouldn't even think about complaining about it. But I don't see myself choosing to listen to this again.
Yeah. I think this is a really cool, really fantastic album of nice new sounds and nice old sounds. Like it has a nice mix of influences and styles. You can definitely see that Hwang So-Yoon was wanting to exhibit everything that she is as an artist and a musician, or at least as much as she could of what she is as an artist and a musician in this album, in this like small escape. And so it does jump around a bit, but I enjoy that. I enjoyed kind of like how it jumps around genre and style wise, and the fact that like it exhibits so many different like aspects of someone. And I'm glad I brought this one first because this was the first exposure I did to I got to Hwang So-Yoon and you know her music. And now you know So-Yoon just released their latest album or EP or whatever, and I think it's worth a listen to, and it's a definitely different style, so I think people should check that out. And I'm looking forward to bringing that on the show. So I think I'm this and that, and we'll in like whatever I bring it up.
You can get with this, or you can get with that.
Yeah.
Now I'm buying a Kia.
Yes.
Or wait, no, a Scion.
this and those sounds get me excited to hear what So-Yoon and Hwang So-Yoon become going forward, what they are now and what they become going forward. And that has me excited, seeing like young artists grow, which is really cool. So yeah, this is just a nice showcase of what Hwang So-Yoon is as an artist, as a performer, and especially as a performer. If you watch her live performances, she has a very cool style and very cool look, and she's a rock star. That's for sure. Yeah, those are our thoughts on So-Yoon. Now we get to the main event of the evening. We get to the moment we've all been waiting for. We get to our haiku review, our hiccup reviews.
That
Haiku hiccups.
I give that one a 7 out of 10.
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
How many syllables was that?
No hiccups needed for your haikus. Let's get down to it. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
Haiku Hiccups sounds like the name of a Drew album.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is like a ska album from like 1993.
Yeah. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Haiku.
Pick it up. Sorry.
David, what is your haiku?
Brave genre blending. I'm rooting for you, So-Yoon. Keep pushing farther.
Okay. Brett, what is your haiku?
Things to like on here. Put together very well. Failed to pull me in.
Matt, what is your haiku?
Well executed. Mix of pop, hip hop, and soul. Didn't speak to me.
Mine. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Are you sure
I
you're
love
not
it.
the one on melatonin, Petey?
No,
No,
this is
that's
all natural.
Ambien.
It's called Petey. I'm on Petey. That's how my brain is all the time. Understand this.
Yeah.
I don't need. If I did drugs, it would just kind of put me to normal. I'm thinking I should do drugs because it might just like pull me back into normal.
You know,
Start wearing a suit.
solid 7 hours of sleep isn't bad.
That's true. All right, my haiku. Indie rock mix up, varied influences, and a ton of great style. Yeah, and those are our thoughts on So-Yoon. You can, of course, find it on our Spotify playlist. Play Record Breakers, the home game. Do your due diligence and your dude diligence.
I will. Okay. Jeez.
Yes.
Damn right.
Damn Skippy.
We're preaching to the choir, literally.
Literally.
Yes. You can, of course, check it out on our Spotify playlist. On that Spotify playlist will be next week's record. And I believe that is David. David, what do you have for us next week?
I have an album that I discovered very, very recently. Thanks once again to the folks at R Prog Metal. 2 Reddit shoutouts. I must be on drugs. They are a band out of Boston, Massachusetts called Bet Knee. And it is their 2019 album, You Know What They Mean.
So you know what they mean. I know what
That's
they mean.
right.
Well, we'll all know what they mean.
Do ya?
I don't know. I'll find out. We'll all find out what they mean next week as I point my back scratcher at you.
I don't have a thing long enough to point.
What happened to your spudger?
It's not long enough.
No. But you can, of course, check that out next week. That'll be next week, and this is this week. And you can, of course, find us all over the internet. David is at Call Me DJM. Matt is at Emeritic W. Brett is at Hibbity HIBBI2IBIBBARD. I'm at PD Rave. Drew is at Extra Survex. You can go check him out.
Yes.
I'm at PD Rave. That's the part where I'm like, I'm a Petey Rave. The show is at 4 Record Breakers. That's the number 4 Record Breakers. RecordBreakersPodcast.com. RecordBreakersPodcast@gmail.com. Rebelli.net for this and other shows. Rebelli TV on YouTube and other places. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, bunch of places. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that bell. Slap the walrus. Spank the monkey.
Give Petey 5 stars. Damn you.
Shine.
Give 'em all the
shine your
dudes.
shoes.
Punish the monkey.
That's right.
Eat your
Works very
prayers. Say
hard
your
on
vitamins.
podcast.
Keep
You
fucking that
sons of
chicken.
Bitches.
Keep fucking that
You
chicken.
better give Petey a positive review. I swear to God.
Until next time. Hasta los vemos.
Toodaloo.
Is Matt really our only listener?
Probably. I don't know. Annyeong.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.